Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear community. Before diving into our topic of the day, let us take a moment to invoke Allah, the most merciful, so that He enlightens us and opens our hearts to the understanding of His word. O Allah, grant us wisdom and clarity to perceive your signs and understand the truth that you reveal to us. Strengthen our faith and guide us on the right path. Ameen. Have you ever felt an inexplicable presence, as if something was watching over you? Sudden peace in a moment of distress, an intuition that saves you from danger, or even a strange scent in the air with no explanation. These are not mere coincidences. These are signs. Signs that Allah's angels are closer than you imagine. Allah reminds us in the Quran, we are closer to Him than His jugular vein. Surah Qaf 50:16. Before continuing, remember to subscribe on the chain and activate the bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Together, let's strengthen our faith and share this precious knowledge. And now ask yourself this question. What if these signs were an invitation from Allah to strengthen your bond with Him? Stay with us until the end to discover how these manifestations can transform your relationship with your Creator. So how do you recognize these signs? How do you know if angels are surrounding you right now? Open your heart and let yourself be guided. First sign, sudden peace in adversity. There are nights when the weight of the world rests on our shoulders, where we close our eyes hoping that perhaps when we wake up, everything will be different. But knowing, deep down, that nothing has changed. Have you ever felt that moment when fear engulfs you? When anxiety becomes a rising tide that seems to want to overwhelm you? Where doubts assail you like a merciless storm, leaving you alone in the darkness of an endless night? And then, without warning, something changes. A breath, a sudden calming, as if an invisible hand had placed itself on your heart, erasing in an instant the chaos that reigned there. This is not a simple coincidence. It's a sign. It is He who has brought peace into the hearts of believers so that they may add faith to their faith. Surah Al-Fatr 48. There are times when Allah sends His angels to lighten the burden we carry. They don't speak. They do not appear before us in a visible form. But they manifest themselves through this sudden peace, this tranquility, which envelops us when all seemed lost. A moment of serenity in the turmoil. Imagine a man alone, sitting on the cold floor of his empty house. He looks around, his tired eyes scanning the bare walls. Everything he once owned is gone. His business, his home, his friends. He is broken, abandoned, without hope. The night is deep, and the silence weighs like an invisible burden. He no longer has the strength to fight, no more strength to believe. But then, a reflex, a whisper in the depths of his soul. He falls to his knees. His trembling hands raise to the sky. The tears flow, silent, burning, witnesses of a heart burdened for too long. O Allah, if you are there, if you hear me, send me a sign. I am at the end of my rope. At this moment, he expects nothing. He prays without knowing if he will be heard. But suddenly something changes. Without explanation, a deep calm came over him, as if a blanket of light had come to envelop his bruised heart. He feels an inexplicable warmth, a relief he can't explain. He opens his eyes, and although nothing around him has changed, everything about him is different. It is not a visible miracle. He didn't find any money on his doorstep. He did not receive a call that would offer him an immediate solution. But he received something much more powerful: peace. The sudden peace which gives him the strength to get up again. A week later, an unexpected call brings him an opportunity he never imagined. But what he understood, what he felt that night, was even more precious than this opportunity. The angels were there. Peace from elsewhere. Have you ever felt this? Have you ever gone through a moment where all seemed lost, and yet, against all odds, you found strength within yourself? A serenity that had no reason to be there. This kind of peace that comes neither from logic nor from reason, but from Allah. It's not just a matter of faith. This is a reality that many have experienced. He brings peace into the hearts of His servants. Surah Al-Tawbah 9:26. The human spirit is fragile. We are easily carried away by the hustle and bustle of life. But Allah, in His infinite mercy, sends His angels to bring us that peace which passes all understanding. Sometimes we look for immediate solutions. We want our problems to disappear in an instant. But Allah gives us something deeper. He gives us the peace that allows us to continue moving forward. The imprint of angels on our lives. This sudden peace is no coincidence. She is proof that we are never alone. That even in the darkest nights, there are invisible presences watching over us. Maybe this feeling has already touched you. Maybe you ignored it, thinking it was just a coincidence. But ask yourself this question: what if, at that precise moment, an angel had placed his hand on your heart? Second sign: powerful intuitions and silent warnings. There are times when something within us whispers a warning, a slight shiver, a strange sensation that makes you hesitate. You're about to make a decision. Everything seems logical. Everything seems normal, and yet, an inner voice tells you to wait, to change direction, not to move forward. You hesitate. You wonder why. There is no obvious reason to doubt, but the feeling is so strong that it compels you to listen. And then, later you discover that if you had ignored that intuition, something bad could have happened. Was it just a coincidence? Or was it a silent message from the angels? And we have assigned guardians to every soul. Surah At-Tariq 86:4. Silent messages from the invisible world. Angels do not need words to speak to us. They act differently. They influence our thoughts, awaken our intuitions, push us to feel what we cannot see. They do not come to warn us in physical form. They do not whisper in our ear with a clear voice, but they slip into us inexplicable perceptions, powerful presentiments, invisible signs that only our heart can understand. You've probably felt this before. This sudden hesitation before getting on a transport. That strange feeling of not trusting a person without knowing why. That thrill that runs through your body when danger is near. And then, later, you discover that you escaped something. Coincidence? Or were you protected? A decision that changes everything. It was late in the evening, and Karim, a young student, was getting ready to return home after a long day. He knew his usual route perfectly. A quick, direct path, which he took every evening without asking any questions. But that night, something inside him stopped him. An inexplicable uneasiness, pressure on the chest, a silent voice in his head telling him, "Take another path." He hesitated. There was no logical reason to change his route, but this feeling was too strong, too insistent. So he listened. He took a detour, along streets he had never taken before. He felt strange, as if an invisible force had diverted him from his usual course. The next morning, he learns that an accident has occurred on his usual route, at the exact time he should have been there. Was it just a coincidence? Or had an angel whispered this warning to him? There are guardians above you, noble angels, who record everything you do. Surat Al-Infitar 82, 10, 11. When angels speak through our intuition, human beings have a limited perception of the world. Our eyes only see a tiny part of reality. Our ears only hear a fraction of the sounds that exist. But our soul feels much more. There are invisible forces around us, energies that protect us, messages that we receive without always understanding them. Angels use this intuition to guide us. They prevent us from going where misfortune awaits us. They keep us away from people who could harm us. They give us this strange feeling that a choice is wrong, even when everything seems logical. Have you ever felt this way? Have you ever made a decision without a rational explanation, just because something inside you told you to do it? Maybe an angel was there that day. Maybe you were saved without even knowing it. The story of a flight that could have been the last. Tariq was a rational man, a scientist who believed only in facts. He never trusted emotions, even less intuitions. But one day, as he was about to board a flight for a business trip, something strange happened. As he waited in line to board, a feeling of uneasiness came over him. His heart began to beat faster. A cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Don't get on this plane. The idea crossed his mind. But where did it come from? He had no logical reason to be afraid. But the feeling was so intense that he couldn't ignore it. He found an excuse, got out of the boarding line, and cancelled his trip at the last minute. A few hours later, he learned on the news that the plane had had a serious incident. He was not superstitious. He was not a believer. But that day, something inexplicable protected him. Maybe an angel was watching over him. We send the angels on mission only by the command of Allah. Surat Al-Hijr 15:8. Listen to that inner voice. Sometimes the signs are not visible. They are not obvious miracles, nor spectacular apparitions. These are presentiments, silent warnings. And the real question is this: do you listen to them? Share your experience in the comments. Have you ever felt an inexplicable feeling that saved you? Third sign: a sweet, unfamiliar scent in the air. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a silent night. Everything is calm. You are alone, sitting in a dimly lit room. Your thoughts wander, perhaps lost in a prayer, perhaps drowned in a sea of uncertainty. And then, without warning, a gentle breeze brushes past you. The air seems charged with an unknown fragrance. It's subtle, delicate, a floral, sweet scent, but light as a whisper. You inhale deeply. It's not a familiar smell, not a candle, not a perfume you own. Nope. It's something else. A feeling of serenity invades you, an inexplicable peace, as if, at this precise moment, an invisible presence wanted to tell you something. The good ones will be in paradise, scented with musk. Surah Al-Mutaffifin 83:26. Angels don't always speak with words. Sometimes they wrap us in a heavenly scent, a message without sound, a sign intended for those who know how to listen with their soul. The messengers of divine perfume. In many spiritual traditions, angels are described as emanating from heavenly fragrances, and rose scent in a moment of deep prayer, one fragrant breeze in a room where there was no source of odor, and sweet and soothing aroma at the precise moment when we ask for a sign from Allah. Some will say that it is an illusion, that our mind plays tricks. But why does this feeling happen precisely at times when we need a sign? Why does this unknown perfume reach us when we are praying, crying, or seeking divine comfort? And when my servant asks you about me, then I am near. I answer the call of him who calls on me when he calls on me. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:186. The material world is not all that exists. Sometimes what is invisible manifests through the senses. One night, one perfume, one answer. In a small, modest house, a woman sat silently. She no longer expected anything. For months, she had been praying. For weeks, she had been asking for a sign that Allah heard her, that He knew what she was going through, that He had not forgotten her. But nothing. Every day, the same emptiness. Every night, the same silence. Until that evening. As she knelt, with her forehead resting on the ground, a light breeze touched his face. Where did she come from? All the windows were closed. There was no draft. Then, a perfume. Soft, delicate, unknown. A blend of musk and flowers. Something comforting and almost divine. His heart sank. A shiver ran down his spine. At this moment she knew. She was not alone. It wasn't the wind. It wasn't his imagination. It was a sign. A response without words, but more powerful than any words. And He has appointed angels as guardians over you. Surah Al-An'am 6:61. The mystery of invisible perfume. Many people have felt this experience without ever being able to explain it. A grieving mother who, while crying at night, smells a fragrance that reminds her of her missing child. A man in deep prayer who suddenly perceives a comforting smell around him. A tired traveler lost in a desert who smells the scent of jasmine while he is alone, far from all civilization. These moments are not trivial. These are reminders. They are presences. They are silent answers to searching hearts. Have you ever noticed a scent without explanation? Maybe you ignored it, too busy looking for tangible answers. But the next time it happens to you, close your eyes, inhale deeply, and listen with your soul. You may not be alone. Allah is closer to you than your jugular vein. Surah Qaf 50:16. Fourth sign, a feeling of being protected, even alone. Introspective and heartwarming style. Remind viewers that they are never alone. Sometimes, in moments of solitude, you feel a warmth on your shoulder. A feeling of presence, even when no one is there. This is not an illusion. It's a sign that the angels are watching over you. And angels will descend upon them. Do not be afraid, nor be grieved. And have good news of the paradise promised to you. Surah Fussilat 41:30. Inspiring story. A child lost in the crowd at a market feels a hand gently guiding him. When he turns around, there is no one, but he finds his way safely. Angels are invisible guardians. Do you sometimes feel protected for no reason? Angels are not distant figures. They are here, now, with us. They soothe us, warn us, perfume us with their presence, and watch over us even when we think we are alone. To Him belong the armies of heaven and earth. Surah Al-Fatr 40:7. So, the next time you feel a sudden calm, a strong intuition, a mystical scent, or an unexplained protection, know that you are never alone. The angels are there. And you? Have you ever felt their presence? Share your experience in the comments. Subscribe and hit the bell for more spiritual revelations.